Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to take a few moments and dive deep into something that is all over the news right now, but I also think the way it's being covered is missing the larger point. And that, of course, is the whole Epstein scandal. I think the two larger points that are being missed are the state of our criminal justice system, which is in dire need of reform, and the state of sexual assault and harassment and how normalized it has become in our culture and our society. And I think for both of those, we have to ask, is this a system we want? And maybe we'll get a chance to ask those questions in a public way after this whole scandal comes to a conclusion, and I hope it will soon. I hope we will all get to see the actual evidence or lack thereof, whatever it is. The American people deserve to be able to see it. So let's dive into the criminal justice system. And before I do, I just also want to say there are thousands of amazing police officers and attorneys and judges. And the ideals of our criminal justice system, I think, are right. We should have fast and speedy trials. We should assume someone is innocent until proven guilty. We should allow everyone to have access to legal counsel. These are the sorts of things that we all learned in middle school and maybe high school. But I think the public record of the Epstein scandal so far paints a very different picture in a case study sort of way. Jeffrey Epstein was proven to be guilty of being a pedophile and just all around nasty person. And he got a sweetheart deal. He got a deal by a Republican state attorney down in Florida that allowed him to serve a prison sentence where he wasn't in prison for over half the time. Even after he got out of his prison sentence, he still got to go around in the same circles, doing a lot of the same things, to include things that are bad and immoral and unethical and just awful to other human beings. Our criminal justice system did not pursue him without fear, without favor. In fact, I would argue the criminal justice system pursued him with a whole lot of favor. That isn't how it's supposed to work. And it's easy to sit here and record a video and say big blanket statements about our criminal justice system. The reality is we have 50 states, we have 4,000 counties, and we have a whole bunch more municipalities plus the federal law. Our federal system really doesn't have a criminal justice system. We have a multitude of different systems that work together. But I do think it's fair for us to take a pause and say, if the worst among us can get treated with such favor, what else is happening? And there I turn to one of my favorite nonprofits, the Equal Justice Initiative. And on their website, they have a couple key stats. 25%. What does that number mean? The United States has only 5% of the world population, but we have 25% of the incarcerated population of the entire world. We are one of the highest incarcerators of our own citizens compared to any other country. And it costs us a lot of money, $87 billion a year. Our spending on jails and prisons reached that in 2015. It was an increase of 1,000% from the $7.4 billion we spent in 1975. And oh, by the way, it's only going up. In 1972, there were only 200,000 people incarcerated in the United States. Today, that number is over 2 million. And from 1980 to 2017, the number of women in jails and prisons grew by over 750%. Over 225,000 women are incarcerated today. These numbers are a bit dated. But I think it really begs the question, why do we have a criminal justice system in the land of the free that incarcerates more people per capita than anywhere else in the world? Why is this system so favorable to rich, guilty people and so harsh on poor, innocent people? It doesn't have to be this way. There are solutions. There's a whole lot more we can do with police officer training. There's a lot we can do to keep prosecutors accountable. There's a lot we can do to rewrite our laws to be more equitable and fair. We can actually fund a criminal justice system to allow people to have quick and speedy trials. We don't have to have a bail system. There's a whole slew of ideas out there that we can reform our criminal justice system, but we never seem to get there in our national debate. And you have to wonder why. And I think that leads me to the second point. The overall state of sexual assault and sexual harassment in our country. Before I dive into some of these statistics, because I think they're sobering, I want to tell a quick story from my time in the Army. It doesn't have to do anything about sexual assault, but it does have to do with how culture changes. You see, when I first joined the Army, it was normal to have senior leaders have DUI convictions in their records. And the idea was at the time, hey, he or she is an amazing officer or amazing non-commissioned officer. They just happen to be out drinking and driving sometime. You see, drinking culture was so prolific in the military, especially when I first started. It was kind of the expectation that you would get caught at some point drinking and driving. Well, in my short military career where I served 8 years, the culture went from saying that's okay to saying, actually, being a good leader is being a good leader around the clock. And part of that is making good decisions. And that means if you're out drinking and driving, then you're not a good leader. I don't care how good you are when you're in uniform in front of your soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. And I wonder if we don't need some sort of similar parallel cultural change here in the US. What do I mean by that? Well, RAINN, RAINN, is an organization that tracks sexual assault, sexual harassment stats. And right at the beginning of their website, you'll see every 74 seconds, someone in the US is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that someone is a child. What do we have to do to link these ideas together? Maybe it's time to change our culture to say, once and for all, this isn't the way we want to live. There's a lot of debate out there about what it means to be masculine. I always thought being masculine was really about protecting people, providing for people. I don't know what happened to all the masculine men out there who want to protect people. I don't think we can claim to be the country of the free, home of the brave, if every 74 seconds someone in the US is sexually assaulted. We can't accept our leaders that have sexual assaults, convictions, or are guilty of it in their past. We can't keep carving out exceptions for them. They're not good leaders if they have done this. I know the times have changed, but the basic morality shouldn't have. And finally, we need a criminal justice system at the federal, state, county, whatever level makes sense that can go after the people who commit these crimes and hold them accountable without fear and favor. The MeToo movement was a great start. There was about 80 laws around the country that changed, some to very, very small degrees, some to more degrees. And there's a great debate about what actually the MeToo movement was able to accomplish. My point I want to leave you with is this. We are failing as a country if we let the idea of taking care of people who are being assaulted and harassed is just some movement for the people who are victims to lead and organize and do something about. We all have to be part of the solution here. Talk to your family members, talk to your neighbors, talk to your local elected officials. Do your research. There's plenty of great ideas of how we can address this issue. And honestly, the reason why I wanted to bring it up now is because now is the time to talk about it. Every time you hear an Epstein story come up and people are tracking it, I'm sorry to say, but people are tracking it from an entertainment perspective. Turn those entertaining conversations into something that can lead to real change, something focused on pragmatic solutions. When we have moments like Megyn Kelly trying to make excuses, saying that, oh, he liked them barely legal, 15 or 16, that's still wrong. It's not like he was a 17-year-old kid when this was all happening. Those are the moments we have to stand up when other people bring them up to say, no, this is not how we want to live. We want to have a better future. And it really does start with basic conversations with people you know, and it can roll up from there. But we all have to be a part of this. This isn't acceptable. This isn't the country I want to live in. And we can make it a better version than anything we've had before. Be part of the change. Thank you. If you haven't yet, please click like on this video, drop a comment below, and click that subscribe button. It'll help the YouTube algorithm make sure that these videos are getting into your feed. Thank you.